I took this to go into kind of how we position some of these strategies at the listing table to separate ourselves out from the pack, because most competitors we know, or I would assume, are going to do some version of professional photography. They're going to talk about how they put it in the MLS correctly and all the very basics. The one thing that we spend so much time on is how we can create their home to be the exclusive home that the buyers are going to see. And so I put together a little, can I share my screen, Ira, Marcus?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So also help me keep on track. So we know that most buyers are on Zillow, and we know that most buyers are looking online at some portals. And so we don't want to skirt that. We don't want consumers to feel like we are trying to, you know, pull the wool over their eyes and sell them something that's not true. So acknowledge it. But we're going to talk today about different strategies to, again, make their home feel like the only home that a buyer is going to see as they're browsing. So jump in the chat here. I'd love to know what you guys think is, where is Zillow ranked as far as the most trafficked site in the United States? Sorry, Canada, but the US. What does everyone think here? Number one, Zillow, number one, number three. Let's see here. Okay. So Zillow is actually the 37th most trafficked site in the United States. Okay. And Zillow is the biggest portal by a landslide. Now, Redfin and Homes.com are close behind as far as real estate searches, but what do we think Redfin and Homes stack up like on overall traffic? Not even close. So Redfin is the 142nd most trafficked site, and Homes.com, with their gigantic push, spending millions of dollars on marketing now, they're the 231st most trafficked site. Now, fun story. How about Facebook? This is piggybacking on Marcus's whole pitch about how prevalent Facebook is. Facebook is the fourth most trafficked site in the United States. Blows away Zillow, blows away Redfin, and all the portals. So we're talking about separating out from the pack, right? So we want to get the sellers buy-in. So what we usually will say, talking about our social media strategy and how different it is than most they're going to hear, is, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you think it'd be a wise decision to exclude your home from the fourth most visited website in the entire country, right? Jackie, to answer your question, Google's number one, YouTube's number two. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But again, get their buy-in. Of course they're not. They're going to say, of course I want my house on Facebook and the number four site in the world. You have to take this and then differentiate out the pay-to-play aspect of Facebook versus the posting naturally on their business or personal page. And I'll tell them, look, if I post something on my Facebook page, and you guys will all know this, if I post a new listing on Facebook, I'll get 7 likes, and I'm going to get my office manager and 4 of my realtor friends to comment and say nice listing, right? Buyers aren't going to see it. And that's the extent of it. So if I've got 2,000 friends on Facebook, it's going to be seen by 30 people, and also the wrong people, right? So we also know one undisputed truth about marketing and pricing, and the only way to increase the sales price of a product is to increase the exposure the product gets. This is true across the board. The increase of exposure then increases the demand for the product. If there's a higher demand for the product, the price naturally rises up. So in simpler terms, exposure drives demand and demand drives price. This is, again, true across the board. So how can we increase the exposure of our listings beyond what the vast majority of other agents are doing? I just talked about that. So what can we do to increase exposure in ways that our competition is not only to, again, be self-serving on the lead generation side, but to showcase the seller that, hey, if we're competing against 4 other agents, what are a couple things that we're going to do specifically that will make us stand out, right, that no one else is going to do? And our competition, other brokerages, are not doing these things for one of a couple of reasons. They've got no budget, they don't know the strategies or tools, or they don't think that those tools make a difference, or they're just lazy. So this is where I started here, but would it be better, Mr. Seller, to have your home as one in a sea of other inventory on Zillow and Redfin and the thousands of other portals? Or is it better to stand out, to be the exclusive home they're going to see, and have the impression of it being the only house a buyer is going to see as they browse the internet, right? So how is this done? So we're going to talk today about a spin on the 3-ad split test through street text. Most competing agents we talked about are not utilizing paid Facebook, and I can show you proof of that later. Not using it at all. The second tip I'm going to start with is something that I've done for the last probably 2 years, and number one, it works. And number two, it makes you feel to the seller that you are extremely well researched and you put a thoughtful strategy behind everything that you're doing. So this boils down to finding out what day of the week, and I would go between Thursday and Friday. What day of the week has the fewest homes hit the market? This is twofold. The first part is now when the buyers get their daily email, right? So for me, it's Tuesday. I've done every city, every zip code in our 10-mile radius here, and it's over and over again. Tuesday is the day of the week with the fewest listings on the market. What this does now is when the buyers get that email with the daily listings on Wednesday morning, the likelihood of my listing being one of the only ones or the only one they're going to see is through the roof. And this is coming from Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, Real Scout, whatever service they're using. The likelihood of our listing being the only one they're going to see is skyrocketed. So that's creating that exclusivity. If you put the house on the market on Thursday, like everybody else does in my market, guess what? When those buyers get that email on Friday morning, your house is just somewhere in there. And again, professional photography, and you want to look good. I hope they click through, but we're talking about ways to stand out, right? The second piece of this, why Tuesday is important for me, is we launch on Tuesday. We hold off showings until the open house weekend, best we can. This also allows this ABC 3-ad split to take effect and really gain some momentum before the weekend hits. So now we hit our open house weekend with a ton of momentum and get our open houses to be just completely slammed. So 3-ad split, as you might know, is one of the street text tools that allows us to take the same advertisement and duplicate it or triple it, right? So what I put together here is a different, right? So you have, when Facebook launches an ad, they grab an audience. We can't demographically target anymore, as you all know. So we can pick a radius and it's 15 miles or bigger. And we just hope to God that Facebook knows what they're doing. And here's the truth. Sometimes they do, and more often than not, they don't. So with Street Text system here, I can create 3 identical advertisements with the click of one button and let our system hack the algorithm and then find and identify the correct ad that got the correct audience, turn off the underperforming 2, and funnel any extra budget to the one that we already had. So that's the 3-ad split in a nutshell. So what is the ABC version of this? It would be 3-ad split tests for just listed single image collage Canva, open house single image collage Canva, remarketing image Canva video, over and over to identify, number one, the best audience, drive my cost per lead down, and then drive my impressions and my views and my clicks up, which again, to the seller, is added exposure on an avenue that no other agent is doing, especially at this level. Right now, I know what you're thinking. How long is it going to take and what's it going to cost? Because those are the 2 objections, right? The entire strategy, I've got a video I'm going to share with you, creating everything from the video to the image we need to do to launching the ads is under 20 minutes. I just trained a new VA that we brought on yesterday on this entire thing. She's never logged into Street Text before, and she did everything in an hour, her first time logging in. So everyone here that knows Street Text and is a little more experienced here, it's 20 minutes. I've got a whole walkthrough of doing it. As for the cost, so dependent on your market and how much you want to spend, obviously. We did this for a listing about 2 weeks ago, $1.1 million in Orange County, higher price points, higher lead cost, of course. We got 20,000 ad views in 2 weeks. We had 113 inbound leads. We spent $400, and that's under $4 per lead, which is unheard of for Orange County specifically. This is running, again, 20 ads across the board. Now, of those leads, we had 9 of them convert into an ABCD, basically going to buy in the next 12 months. We hope to be with us, obviously. And then of the ones that didn't answer, said no, not looking, whatever, 20 of those are still looking at our Real Scout page over and over for properties. So again, higher intent. So for $400, we got 19,000 views where our competition is not, that the sellers are going to freak out over. 113 inbound leads that we can tell our seller, hey, they asked about your house. We've called them, texted them, emailed them, invited them to the open house, shared your listing with them, etc. And we've got 113 future relationships to build. So that's the results. Now, I mentioned this earlier, that you can, as a consumer, you can go and see every single ad any of your competition is running at any time on Facebook. So if you're competing, I would strongly either A, try to find out who you're competing against, not to bash them, but it's very valuable context as you're differentiating yourself, right? Or if you don't do that, everyone's got their main 3 or 4 competitors. Go to those pages and blur their name out. But here's how you do it. So bookmark the pages. Like I've got my 6 competitors bookmarked, so I can just print it out anytime I want to and have updated lists to share with the seller. And again, you blur the name out and say, these are some major agents in the area that are just simply not doing this at all. Real quick, you're going to go to their Facebook page, business page. You can click on About. Under Page Transparency, click on See All. You're going to click on Go to Ad Library, and it's going to pull up the results. So as an example, this is us, 52 ads, right? This is, in our city, it's basically us, this gentleman, and one other that are consistently back and forth for number 1, 2, and 3, and he's got 0. So this is in my presentation, this exact screenshot I bring over and over to differentiate and show proof of the comparison, right? What did I put here? Last thing I want to talk about before I give a bunch of all this stuff away is making sure that you post your stuff to YouTube. Now, what's going on here? Grossly underutilized tool. Slideshows don't get the traction, but it still fulfills the promise you're going to make to your seller, right? Why is YouTube so important? It's the second most trafficked website across the world. And it, by the way, it blows away Facebook. It's unbelievable how many more views YouTube gets, but it's free, for example. It's owned by the first most trafficked website in the world, which is Google. It's not like the other search engines. And so what you have to do here is explain this to a seller in layman's terms. So what the difference is that Google and Bing and Yahoo and DuckDuckGo, all these other search engines, the way they work is all they're doing is matching keywords across different content, right? So if I type in YouTube is the second, it's going to go find websites that literally say YouTube is the second and show me those results. If I don't post a video to YouTube natively with a title and caption and keywords that would match a consumer's search, the video is not going to, there's no results because YouTube does not crawl the internet in the same way that Google would. Secondly, Google, being the owner of YouTube, often rewards video content on page 1 or the first few results. So time and time again, if you search for one of our listings, it'll be like Zillow, Redfin, etc. Then boom, our video with no money behind it because YouTube rewards those pieces of content. So super easy to do. These are just a few things, like I said, that we explain very simply. And again, you got to get the buy-in because you really want the seller to understand in ways that understand in ways that make sense to them. If I go in there and talk a bunch of tech and say right over their head, and they're going to just be glossy-eyed and bored. So you have to, again, are you on Facebook? Yes, we are. We look for pictures of our grandkids. Okay. No, I'm not on Facebook. Okay, I understand that. Do you have friends that are on Facebook? Yeah. You know how important Facebook is. You know how many people are on there. Of course they do, right? And then the difference is I skipped right past this. I'm sorry. The difference here is when our listings are on Facebook and they're getting those 20,000 views, right? And Marcus had you guys look at this. If you go scroll through Facebook, every third thing they see now is an ad. Every third. You can go check it out yourself. So what I usually tell sellers is, look, when we're here running the strategy and this marketing campaign to get you a higher price for your house, it's going to be, cat picture, vacation picture, whatever, and then your house. And then it's newlywed, vacation, your house again, over and over until they click on it to register. If they click on it and don't register, guess what? Now they get the remarketing ads because now they've engaged in our page. So this entire thing has got to be done. Now, the benefit of the strategy is that all that money was included in all the ads, even after I turned them off. So what I mean by that is I just did this yesterday night when I was training our VA. We had all the ads on by about 9 p.m. It's 10 o'clock in the morning right now where I am. And I've already got, I just was updating this, 8 leads overnight. At about 2 o'clock today, we're going to go back in and turn off probably 2/3 of those ads to make sure that we're spending the money on the ads that are performing, right? That's very important because now you're not spending a boatload of money on the ad that didn't get the right audience. So I want to make sure that was clear. And I know I talked a whole bunch. So some freebies. I want you guys to have the listing presentation slick that I put together that looks just like that. And I think I should have it here. Right here. So I have this in our nice evidence book. So it's laminated. I need to update it, but this shows the seller in a visual what it looks like. So I screenshotted 3 different versions of the ad. I screenshotted the results of each of those ABC or each of those 3 ad splits, and then showcased which one was the performing ad. If you look at the second one, number 2, that B ad, the one that won 14 leads at 2,000 views. It's unbelievable. And when they see this, it makes sense to them. So you got to show it to them. You can take this and rip it off, of course. The walkthrough I mentioned, 20 ads in 20 minutes. It's actually a little bit quicker than that because I'm rambling in this video for a few minutes like I do sometimes. But that's your walkthrough. It's very quick, but it shows you everything from start to finish from the video and the image. I've got 2 guides I put together. You might have seen a couple of these somewhere else, but those are in there as well. I didn't make this template. It was a pretty good one on Canva that I tweaked a little bit. You can have the entire video template you can use and grab that. So I'll leave this up for a few minutes while I check on this chat. That was a lot. Ira, you want to bring it back to earth? Anything I need to re-go over here?
Lots of people in the comments saying, and I agree, like just checking out what your competitor's doing in terms of Facebook ads, like that alone is like a light bulb moment. Like, how do you differentiate each other? And a lot of people are asking about specific sides and stuff, so we'll make sure we get all of that together. But I think it's great that you've pulled it all together and this kind of free giveaway, because it'll give people some of the information they were looking for. But
yeah, and I'm looking at a few of the comments, Elaine, I think Marcus. Yeah, Thursday, Friday is the most common because you want your house on the market before the weekend. Ours on the house before the weekend too, except I now have exclusivity on the search alerts, and I've got an extra 2 or 3 days to make my listing stand out again on these avenues that other buyers are not. So it's all up for us. And we're again super competitive market. Orange County, obviously, we're very fortunate with prices and that, but it's very competitive. So everything we do, and we're not here to bash people. That's certainly not, and we can't. Ethically, we can't. What you can do though is differentiate your strategy from theirs. You can compare broker to broker. And this is an old school thing that we did for a long time. When there was, this is 10, 15 years ago, when there was like Zillow Premier and like at the brokerage level, you could pay to enhance your listings. It was, Mr. Seller, how do you feel about a brokerage that does not see the investment worthwhile to enhance your listing on all these portals? And it's true because X brokerage didn't and we did, right? So everything has to be a comparison and showcasing the value in it and making sure that they understand that all the things you're going to do go back to increasing exposure, which increases demand, which increases the price, right? There's a reason why people like shopping at Target over Walmart for the most part, or Nordstrom over Kmart, right? Because higher level of service, better marketing, better exposure, higher demand, more exclusive, right? These are all the different ways we can bring it to the seller's lexicon, if that makes sense.